Hello students, in this session we are going to learn what are carbohydrates and what is their classification. What do we mean by Havoc structure and what is epimer? Carbohydrates can be defined as the polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketones or the compounds which yield these polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketones by hydrolysis. So these are the compounds which are called as carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are classified broadly as sugars and non-sugars. Now, sugars can be further classified as monosaccharides and oligosaccharides, and non-sugars are also called as polysaccharides. Now, monosaccharides are the most simplest form of carbohydrates which consist of single units. Oligosaccharides are the carbohydrates which on hydrolysis give us 2 to 10 monosaccharides. And polysaccharides are the carbohydrates which on hydrolysis give us more than 10 monosaccharides. Now, oligosaccharides can be further classified as disaccharides, trisaccharides, and tetrasaccharides. Similarly, polysaccharides can be further classified as homopolysaccharides and heteropolysaccharides. Now, what do we mean by disaccharides? Disaccharides on hydrolysis yield 2 monosaccharides. Trisaccharides on hydrolysis yield 3 monosaccharides. Tetrasaccharides yield 4 monosaccharides. And what do we mean by homopolysaccharides? Means to say, homo means to same. It gives same type of monomers or monosaccharides, whereas heteropolysaccharides means it gives different types, 2 or more number of monosaccharides. Carbohydrates are broadly classified as sugars and non-sugars, which I already told in the beginning. So what do we mean by sugars? Sugars are crystalline, whereas non-sugars are amorphous in nature. Sugars are soluble in water, whereas non-sugars are insoluble in water. Sugars are sweet to taste, whereas non-sugars are tasteless. Based on the number of monosaccharide units, carbohydrates, already I told you, they are classified as monosaccharides, oligosaccharides, and polysaccharides. Now, I even told disaccharides, trisaccharides. Now, examples for disaccharides are sucrose, maltose, and lactose. Examples for trisaccharides are raffinose, and tetrasaccharide is stachyose. Now, homopolysaccharides and heteropolysaccharides, this is how the polysaccharides are classified. Based on the functional groups, monosaccharides are further classified as aldoses and ketoses. Monosaccharides are further classified as aldoses and ketoses. What do we mean by aldoses? They contain aldehyde functional group, whereas ketoses contain the ketone functional group. Now, aldoses can be further classified as aldopentose, that is if they have 5-membered ring, or they can be called as aldohexose if they have a 6-membered ring. Now, example for aldopentose is xylose and aldohexose is glucose. Similarly, ketones also can be classified as ketopentose and ketohexose, means to say if it has ketone group and a 5-membered ring, it is an example for a ketose, ketopentose. Example is xylulose, and for example for ketohexose is fructose. Carbohydrates can be further classified as sugars, for that matter, can be further classified as reducing and non-reducing sugars. What do we mean by reducing sugars? Now, reducing sugars, they reduce the Fehling solution and tolerance reagent. Okay, now if we do the reaction in the lab for tolerance reagent test, you will see a nice silvery mirror, means to say the sugar has reacted with the tolerance reagent and it has left behind, it has formed where the silver has been deposited on the sides of the glass test tube. Okay, glass test tube. whereas non-reducing sugars do not reduce Fehling solution or tolerance reagent. Example for reducing sugar are glucose, galactose, maltose and lactose. For non-reducing sugar, it is an example is sucrose and trehalose. Now you have to understand in reducing sugar there is a free aldehyde group, whereas here the aldehyde group has been used up in glycosidic linkage formation might be, so that's why the free aldehyde group is not available, so hence they are non-reducing sugars. Now coming to Havoc structures or Havoc projections. The cyclic forms of sugars are written as either hexagons or pentagons. Now these are called Havoc projections. The cyclic forms are very convenient to draw. Now how do we get these cyclic structures? Now the cyclic structures are obtained by an intramolecular reaction between an hydroxy group and the aldehyde group, or between the hydroxy group and the ketone group, and it leads to the formation of hemiacetal or hemiketal formation. So aldehyde reacts with a hydroxy group to form hemiacetal, or a ketone reacts with the hydroxy group to form a hemiketal, and hence we end up getting a ring or cyclic form. Now aldohexoses form a 6-membered ring called as pyranose, whereas ketohexoses form a 5-membered ring called as furanose form. Now why do we call them as pyranose? Pyranose resembles the heterocyclic compound pyran. Okay. At the same time, furanose resembles the heterocyclic compound furan. That's why the name pyranose and furanose. When do we get pyranose? Aldohexoses form 6-membered ring called as pyranose form. Ketohexoses form a 5-membered ring called as furanose. So this is how the pyranose form looks like, and this is how the furanose form looks like. Now I mentioned about hemiacetal or hemiketal. This is a general reaction. Look here, aldehyde R C double bond OH, and this is the alcohol RO minus. O minus has, it can act as a nucleophile, it can go and attack at the carbonyl carbon, and this becomes O minus. When it becomes O minus, it takes up this H and it becomes OH. Please note, it becomes OH. So the carbonyl CO is converted to the hydroxy group. Carbonyl CO is converted to the hydroxy group, whereas R was there before, that R is there. This H was there before, that H is there, and RO dash, that is RO minus, which went and attacked here, that is what I have written here. So R, COH, H and OR dash. Okay, so this is the hemiacetal. In the same way, I can get a hemiketal. Instead of taking an aldehyde, if I take a ketone, here also this R and R dash is as such. The carbonyl group is attacked by the RO minus, goes and attacks here, becomes O minus. O minus accepts this proton, so OH and OR dash. So we have a hemiketal form. Now we will see the Havoc structures of glucose, galactose and mannose. Please note, this is the open chain structure of glucose. This is the open chain form of glucose. Now in glucose, if you see, all the OHs are, there are about 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. There are 5 hydroxy groups and 1 aldehyde group. Out of the 5 hydroxy group, the hydroxy group at the 3rd carbon is on to the left hand side, whereas all the rest of the hydroxy groups are on to the right hand side. And let us see how many stereogenic centers are there. 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is the highest numbered stereogenic center, and its OH group is on to the right side. That's why this is the D-glucose. highest numbered stereogenic center has the OH group onto the right side. This is a D-glucose, and always remember glucose has the third carbon hydroxy group onto the left hand side, rest all onto the right hand side. Now what happens is there is an intramolecular Hemiacetal formation. This OH goes and attacks at the carbonyl carbon. When it goes and attacks at the carbonyl carbon, we know that C double bond O is converted to the OH. So this O went and attacked, it attacked this carbon, and the carbonyl carbon has been converted to the OH and the H. So this is the cyclic structure of D-glucose. Now let us write the Havoc structure. Now Havoc structures, let us see. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 carbon atoms are there and 1 oxygen atom is there. Hence I have 6 atoms in the Havoc ring structure, that is the pyranose ring. And if the OHS groups are onto the right side, I write them below the Havoc structure. If the OHS groups are onto the left side, then I write them above the Havoc structure. So this is onto the right side, I write it below. This is also second carbon also, which is onto the right side, I write it below. Third, it is onto the left side, I write it up. Then it is again below, and the CH2OH and H is written like this. Now when the OH, this first carbon OH, when it is below, when it is away from this O, when it is below the ring, this alpha, okay, alpha conformation, okay, this is the alpha configuration. Now if you see here, this is the alpha, and we know already that it is D configuration, and it is glucose, and it is a pyranose ring. So I can call this structure as alpha D glucopyranose. Now if we move on to galactose, in galactose the third and the fourth carbon has the hydroxy group onto the left hand side, and moving on to the intramolecular, that is structure, that is the intramolecular hemiacetal formation, we get this particular structure. And if we write the Havoc structure, let us see OH OH below, OH OH below, whereas these are onto the left side, so this OH OH above, OH OH above, and this is CH2OH and H. So this is the structure of galactose. So this is alpha D galactopyranose because the OH is down. Now let us see the next one, that is the mannose. Mannose has the second and the third carbon hydroxy groups onto the left side. So moving on to the intramolecular hemiacetal formation, we could get the structure. And if we move on to the Havoc structure, this first, see, this is the first carbon, OH is onto the right side. It will decide whether it is alpha configuration or beta configuration. This is alpha because the OH is down, whereas the second and the third OH is onto the left side, so I have to write them up. Here again it is onto the right side, so I have to write down, and this is my CH2OH. This is about the glucose, galactose and mannose. And all glucose, galactose and mannose are reducing sugars because they have the free aldehyde group which is in equilibrium with the Havoc structure. Both structures exist. The the open chain form also exists, and the Havoc structure also exists, and both are in equilibrium. That's why they answer, they are reducing sugar. They give positive test for Fehling solution and tolerance reagent test. And now moving on to the epimers. What are epimers? Epimers are a pair of diastereomeric aldoses which have identical configuration on all their asymmetric carbon atoms except the alpha carbon atom. With respect to the functional group, this is my alpha carbon. This next carbon is alpha carbon. So they have configuration at all the carbons same except at the alpha carbon atom, which differ in configuration at C2, and they produce the same ozone. These are called as epimers. Example is D-glucose and D-mannose. These are a pair of epimers. Why? Because they differ at C2 configuration. They differ in configuration about the C2 carbon. Whereas if we look at the structures of glucose and galactose, the entire structure is same except for C4 carbon atom, and we call them as C4